Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Off the Leash. If you've been following the channel, it's been a minute since we've done an Off the Leash. Last Off the Leash we were stuffing the 347 into this thing, trying to get it assembled for Supercell West in Colorado. If you haven't been following all the drama that we've been going through these past couple months, you definitely need to go back and watch some of the older videos. I mean, we've just been having an absolute blast. You know, it's been problem after fun time after memory. I mean, we just keep on racking up stuff over here. So for today's Off the Leash, we got a little bit more of those little problems and things to deal with. Let me explain it this way. The whole idea behind Off the Leash, the series, is to show you guys wild horses and people here just living the Bronco lifestyle. And I want to say unfortunately, but it's not unfortunately because you get to learn. Part of the Bronco lifestyle is working on these things, finding the quirks that you have to deal with, fixing this and fixing that, and letting your list get longer and longer as you keep on finding different things, and just the maintenance of it. In 2 days, I'm gonna be hitting the trail with some of the guys here from Wild Horses. A couple of different vehicles are gonna be going, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm having a few problems with the pit bull over the course of who knows how long. I have no idea when it happened, but my exhaust hanger broke off of the cross member for the wrap trap that I'm running. That was something that I was going to fix, except I ran into a little bit of a problem today. I was coming in today with the plans of setting all of it up, filming it, welding it for you guys, showing you guys the whole process behind that. But coming into work today, my Bronco decided it wanted to get straight piped. So yeah, that happened. Because we don't have time to fix the muffler, I'm just gonna end up running the pit bull straight piped this weekend. But that isn't the only problem that we ran into. The day of the swap meet, which if you guys haven't watched the swap meet recap, we threw that up on our Instagram. We had a blast first off at the swap meet, but after the swap meet, I decided that I want to rip some donuts. You know, I'm 21, that's just kind of what you do. So I went out to a little dirt patch, was ripping around for probably an hour and a half, getting a lot of sick footage. After that, I didn't have any power steering. This is kind of where we're gonna start the episode for today, which I know I've been talking for a little bit now, but it's gonna be diagnosing the power steering. Now, I got a lot of other stuff to diagnose with the pit bull, but we're gonna start with that. We're gonna see where this episode goes. Hopefully I can get this thing out of here by today with a new power steering pump. Let's just dive right in, I guess. When we empty a power steering pump, it tends to get a little bit messy. So I think this cardboard will come in handy. Normal everyday Wild Horses stuff. All right, so if you've watched any of the Off the Leash episodes before, you know that they're not super in-depth tech stuff. So when I talk about the power steering, I'm not gonna be talking so much about, you know, the super in-depth tech stuff behind it, but I do want to point out a couple things that maybe you wanna keep in mind when you're dealing with some power steering issues. The first off being, if you ever experience a lossage, I think I just made that word up, but a lossage of your power steering abilities, first couple things you want to check out. First off is obvious, it's the power steering fluid in this thing. You want to make sure you're topped off, you want to wipe your dipstick down, stick it in there, see where you're running. That was the first thing I did, and I was totally fine. Next thing you want to do is check your belt tension, make sure that's tight. I'm running the serpentine belt with the Explorer front dress, so my setup may look a little bit different than yours, but you want to check that, make sure nothing's just totally loose and will be causing the power steering pump to be slipping. Other things that you might want to check are kinked hoses, make sure there's no kinks in there. You want to look at the power steering box itself. If you don't want to pull the power steering box and replace it, there are some internal things you can check. You know, maybe there's a valve that's clogged, you know, or a filter or something in there. I'm not too familiar with what is actually going on in a power steering pump, but those are different things that you can check. Because my power steering pump has been in there for a really long time, and I've been hitting the trails. I've been thrashing that thing for a long time now. I'm just guessing that the pump has been worn out. So I'm just gonna replace the whole thing. I'm not gonna look into the internals or anything like that. But anyways, I gotta get into installing this. I've got about 3 hours left of daylight, and then I gotta take off. So let's get to ripping out this power steering pump, letting everything drain out, and throwing the new pump on, and we'll see where we end up at the end of this. Hopefully this fixes the problem. If not, I don't know what else to do, but we'll see how this turns out. Alrighty, easy enough pulling the pump out. I did have to switch the pulleys onto the new pump because I'm running the Explorer setup, the Serpentine. So let's get this new one plugged in and see if we fix the problem. We ran out of time yesterday. I ended up finishing the power steering pump install, drove it all the way home, and as fate would have it, and my luck, apparently all of the fluid leaked out overnight. I'm hoping that this pump is still good, that I didn't burn it up because I took it for a little bit of a drive. Heard the squealing once it ran out of fluid. I was trying to get it over to the shop. That didn't happen. I'm gonna try to fix whatever was leaking and see if I can get this thing to have some solid power steering, because once the power steering goes, the brakes go as well, because I'm running the Hydro Boost system. So I definitely need this thing to work, especially if I'm gonna hit the trail tomorrow. So that's enough of an intro to day 2. Let's get to wrenching, get our fingers dirty, and let's just quit talking and see if we can put the pit bull back together. Okay, so that didn't take very long, but as you guys can see, the pump is still dripping. It's still leaking, so I don't know what to do. I think I've just got to go back to pulling the pump. I don't know. I'm gonna diagnose. I'm not gonna drag you guys through this whole process. We'll come back when the power steering actually works, and we'll go through the rest of the checklist. So give me a couple hours here, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I can keep this wrench from getting thrown into a wall. Wish me luck. All right, so the power steering is dialed in as of right now. Got a piece of cardboard there. Looking for any drippage, anything that I may have missed, but right now it's holding together. So next up on the list is to test this front ARB locker, see if the compressor will actually lock up the front. We're gonna find that out. I gotta throw this up on jack stands. That's the first thing. There's only a couple more things on the list after that. We're gonna get started on all of this work. Hopefully we find out some good stuff. Hopefully we find out that my front locker works. Okay, so the pit bull is sitting up on 4 jack stands. I actually just realized that I did a little bit more work than I had to. I didn't actually need to put the rear up on jack stands. Only need to do the front. I'm gonna switch the ARB lockers on, turn the front switch, and we'll see if we get both tires spinning. Hubs are locked, and boom. These things are both spinning at the same time. That means the front locker is working, so we are in business. Very cool. That makes me extremely happy. So let's get this thing off the jack stands. We'll continue on with the processes for preparing for the trail. What a mess. For all of my tool storage, well, most of my tool storage, I use this Pelican gun case. It's cool, I just don't like how many different whatchamacallums I have to loosen up to get to my tools. But other than that, the spacing is perfect. It fits right behind the seat, in between the fender wells. It took me forever to actually find these dimensions, but they worked out, so I dig it. It helps me keep stuff organized. Boom, see? Perfect fit. Enough room for the axe. For the record, I'm cleaning up the dust back here because we got a couple passengers. All of this dust, as you guys saw what I said earlier in the videos, from all of those dust donuts that we were kicking up a couple weeks ago now. Well, I guess it was 1 week ago now. Totally 100% worth it. But I don't think I'm ever gonna get all of the dust out of this thing. It's kind of like Oregon sand, or just any sand in general. You're not getting rid of it once you start playing around in it. So, prices to pay, a little bit of cleaning, a lot of dust in your lungs. It's literally everywhere.
I don't like sand. Gets everywhere.
Man, my dude Annie's just having a conversation. What would you say if you were talking to a girl, huh?
Complain about sand.
I would complain about the sand. All right, so we could go on and on with cleaning this thing with the different stuff and the different prep. I'm just about wrapped up, so we're gonna call the video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found it, I don't even think anybody found it helpful. Somewhat entertaining, if nothing else. Like I said, we are hitting the trail tomorrow. So you make sure you keep an eye out for that video. If this is your first time watching a Wild Horses video, make sure you check out some of the old stuff. I would recommend at least the last 3 to 4 videos. Supercell West, the Colorado to Utah trip, the overlanding one, Supercell East. We got a ton of good stuff, a ton of great stories, a ton of crazy things that have happened to us, and we just happen to have the pleasure of getting it on camera. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully nothing too gnarly. It's not supposed to be anything crazy.
We're up here at Bear River Reservoir.
I guess it's all part of the experience. But it may snow a little bit. If not, then we'll be romping through a bunch of rocks, as is our fashion. So anyways, like I said, one more time, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do, because we have a ton of Bronco content coming down the tubes. And with all of that being said, we will see you guys out there on the trail. Peace!